Hello, it's Susie from Bonsai Druid. Welcome, and I thought today that I would show you my indoor corner where I keep more of the tropical bonsai that I have through the winter time and see how they're doing now that we're heading into March and into, well, late winter, early spring here. Still kind of late winter. Test number 1 to see how the lighting looks with the trees. Okay, it's a little crowded over here. Kind of confine them to one space where I can provide maximum amount of light, and they get air circulation without getting direct draft from the fans, because sometimes there can be drafty corners. And this is a converted garage into 2.5 car garage, converted half of it into my art studio where these plants are, and then the other half is a workshop side where I keep the hardier temperate trees that get to go dormant for the winter. We'll take a look at them in a few. First off, I have my green Isle banyan, one of its babies, looking pretty healthy. In the back here I have a Portulacaria afra. It's doing alright. I really need to chop it. It got way too long, but it's winter, so I just left it alone. This one is my South African fig, Ficus Davii. Holding its own. It'll hopefully get more leaves once it gets to get outside. It's been struggling since I did a couple of major chops on it, and it started to come back last year, but hopefully it'll do better this year. It got a repot. I think it's still recovering from that. And then in the little corner here is a little baby Davii that grew up out of one of the aerial roots of this one. It was coming off of this branch right here, straight down to the ground, and then eventually I just separated it off because I didn't want it making a bulge on this branch, and I cut it off, and this little guy's doing really well, actually. He's going to get repotted. He's got roots growing out everywhere. Good lord. Oh, good grief. He's got more roots than I realized. So he's obviously doing fine. Hard to see. His color actually looks better. These lights are kind of messing with my camera. And then we have my Jaburicaba. I'm pretty satisfied with the way it's overwintered this year. I bound this center area together and kind of brought these 3 sections narrower in the middle, and I'm actually a lot happier with it than I was a year ago. It's kind of hard to get the lighting. It's looking pretty good. Right here I have one of 4 oaks seedlings. This one actually took, and it's doing really well. This was given to me by a friend of mine who... This is Quercus robur. It's the English oak, but it is... The one this acorn came from was inoculated with truffle. So I don't know if that'll have any effect on this plant here. I grew it, and I repotted it into the same type of soil that I took, that was growing on his property. So this is not bonsai soil. This is a mix of my friend's like magic soil mix that he's got. Just he can grow anything. But the other 3 acorns, I put 2 in taller containers. I put 2 in shorter containers. One actually started. This one started growing. God, probably about at least a month ago. The others haven't done anything, but I haven't given up hope on them yet. This is a little... I don't even know how to pronounce the name of this. Dorstenia hildebrantii carnulosa. I got this at Ted's greenhouse in Tinley Park. It's got a little bulbous bottom, and it makes these really cool star-shaped panicle flower. I'm not even sure you'd call that a flower. I guess that's its flower anyway. It's like another mother of thousands type of a plant where it will literally make babies everywhere. I had seen some mature ones, much, much bigger, and they look pretty interesting, so I bought a little one. This is a wild... Let's see if I can get a better view of it. This is a wild elm that just... I've been growing it since a little baby. It just turned up in a pot one day. And just grew, even though I didn't do anything to it, like a stray animal. And then one day I just decided, you've hung around for several years now. I think I'm going to bring you into the bonsai group. It's making its little leaves. Little elm. I have no idea what kind. The leaves aren't very big. So probably some kind of ornamental elm that grows wild in the area. This tree was overwintering, sitting in the soil of my pomegranate, which I took this big chop off just a short while ago after I took it out of hibernation, but it was still dormant. It's still not doing anything. I hope it's not dead. Some of these branches do seem to have a little bit of green here. This one, I don't know. I'm not seeing any signs of... This one might still have some green. I'm not actually seeing any withering yet. So that's what I've been keeping an eye for, is any withering. I don't even see withering in these finer branches, but they don't know if they're dead or not. The cut that I took from here, I put with a bunch of root powder, and I stuck it in here. It's not actually in water. It's kind of... This is just where it can drain. I don't know if this will take. It seems really thick to me, but I'm giving it a chance. It also had some green at the top of it and on a couple of these outer branches, so we'll see how that goes. If it does take, it's going to have a really interesting start based on that base. So I really do hope that it could take, but it's got a lot of old bark here and nice movement. Could do something. So we're hoping that one will live. Oops. And then this right here. Back up. Oh, shoot. Probably not going to be able to get this all in. But in this china pot, blue china pot, stem coming up and up and up to there, is my Stewartia monadelpha, which has just in the last couple of weeks popped out these leaves after a year of waiting for this tree to do something besides just look pathetic and horrible and miserable. I left it really tall. I actually cut quite a bit of it off when I got it shipped to me, just because I'm trying to disturb it as little as possible until it gets over itself and grows. Over here I have two other Portulacaria afra. I feel like I'm going to have to take this light off. It's too intense. Okay, let's try this. This is the Portulacaria afra parent plant to this squat little ground-hugging one. This other little bit over here came off of this one, which a friend of a friend gave this to me. He was having trouble with it, and he knew that I did bonsai, so I'm trying to reshape the top. It's got a nice little thick trunk at the bottom, and then there's this little green bit growing out of the side there. I could cut it back to that and start over and have a nice thick trunk. But we'll see how the top goes. If I don't end up liking the top, then I can chop it lower later. This is a geranium that I'm going to try to do something with because it's got this nice bendy bit on the base of it. It did pretty well considering I've kept it alive all winter. Got nice green leaves on it. It looks really healthy. It's not in bonsai soil, just regular soil, but oh, it looks great. Here's some more babies of the South African parent fig. I mean, not South African, the Green Isle Banyan. And there's more of them back there. They're looking great as always. And this right here is my orange jasmine, which is also green, really green. This doing okay. Hasn't grown anything new, but it also hasn't lost anything either. So that's a plus. Let's see, who else is in here? Others are not bonsai. This is an interesting little plant from Ted's. Makes these cool rosettes. The only fig I've ever been, or fern I've ever been able to keep alive, which is a black rabbit's foot fern. It's got a really nice crown. And lots of these little furry feet that hang outside the pot. It actually really needs a repot, which I really need to do. But again, it's the only fig I've ever gotten to live this long. I've had it for like a year or two. I love the shape of it. I don't know if I should just up pot it or cut it in half. I don't know. I don't want to kill it. There's a little munchkin that's always under my feet. He loves to try and get in and eat my leaves off my plants. And then over here, it's an easier way to see the trunk from the orange jasmine. It's like got a kind of nicely developed, old-looking little. It's skinny, but it still looks like it has age to it, which it does. I gotta fix what's going on the top of it though. A couple of Christmas cactuses. One which has really cool red leaves, and one which has decided to bloom. Maybe it's an Easter cactus. I don't know. And then my orchid, which always blooms in the wintertime. It's just a regular Phalaenopsis. Nothing rare, but I do like the flowers. Never thought I could do an orchid, but that thing does pretty nicely. You could see the Jaboticaba from this side. Also the trunk coming up to the central branches, which was like 3 branches growing from one spot. It used to really bug me. But now that I've kind of tightened them up at the top, like right there, you can see the green going horizontally across, and there's also another piece of like elastic there that kind of binds, supports them, pulls them together. I think it makes a nicer multi-trunk tree. And not really trunk, because it's got all that trunk, but I don't know. It looks natural to me, so I'm okay with it. Here's another shot of the leaves of the Stewartia. Let's see if I can get a good shot of them. Let's see on this side. And then down here. But there's buds all over the tree that have been there for a year. These buds have not, if they swell, like occasionally they'll seem to swell, and then nothing ever comes of it until these sections here decided to finally do something. Okay, this is the workshop side of my garage that has the place where I now store my dormant trees, along with lots of other stuff. This room is under remodeling in a way, reorganizing, so there's stuff everywhere. But the trees are in the center under a pretty bright LED light, and then there's another light over these two, which are too big to put on the other table. To the left is Illinois everbearing mulberry tree, and to the right is a corkscrew hazel, Harry Lauder's walking stick. They're in big pots because they're just growing thicker trunks, and the hazel had a horrific root ball, really tangled root ball that I'm still trying to work to get from trying to choke this tree out completely. That's the base of it at the moment. They believe these are usually grafted, and I'm not sure exactly where the graft was. I see a kind of a mark here, so that could have been the graft. Nothing grows. I haven't let anything grow on this below this area where it begun. It's got its catkins on it every winter. They should be doing their thing soon. And I have to wait for this to leaf out. There's buds all over it. I have to wait for it to leaf out to know what's like dead and what's alive. And then usually the dead stuff I end up saving. It has its uses. But I love the corkscrew branches. And the other one is just a native mulberry. It's a big mulberry, normally pretty tall. A friend I got this one from, the tree was well over our heads. Like we were never going to get those mulberries. It was so high above us. So this one is pretty low. I can easily pick mulberries off it if the birds don't beat me to it. It makes great big nice mulberries though, compared to a normal mulberry tree. That's the only outstanding feature about it, and that's enough. I was trying to just get the branches to kind of grow horizontally so that it made it easier to pick the mulberries, but it started taking up too much room in storage, so I am going to have to trim it up and get it to be a little more vertical. But as you can see, the top does have some nice branching up there. I would easily could cut this lower one off. I could take that off. I could even take that off or try to get cut and turn them into cuttings or something. If I really wanted to bonsai it up, I could even take this one off back here because it's pretty thick. And this one kind of, I don't know. We'll see what happens. This one and this one aren't particularly being bonsaied at this time. They're just going to be trees in pots. And I kind of let them do their thing. Then over here, I have a root that I cut off that's buried down in here. See if it'll do anything. I believe this is, I think, an elm. A little baby elm. This one has some redwood cuttings in it that are really small. Hopefully they lived. And these 6 are, again, some oaks. Young oaks. I'm hoping that this one, I should turn that away from the chill of that pot. This one I think's alive. This one I think is alive. This one I think's alive. This one I think is alive. This one I'm really not sure. And this one, I don't know. I don't see anybody in there. And this is another oak that I just collected from the yard. It's in pumice in a pond basket. This year, or end of the year, I may move it into an actual, some soil, just so it can thicken up some kind of local wild elm. This, on the other hand, is an American elm. And this is not. I don't know what this is. It's I don't know if it's Siberian elm. It's something that just people locally have that grows here, but it is not an American elm. This is the American elm. It comes all the way up here. Then it arches over here. Oh, we still have it out of frame. It's way up here now by the light. And back down here. It's in a kind of a small pot. I have a bigger pot, which I am going to show after this. It's like this, but it's much bigger rectangle. And I want this tree to have more room. This is very small for the growth that I'm hoping to get to grow the trunk of this tree. Same thing with my other American elm, because this is like one of my favorite trees, and I've always had difficulty getting an American elm to grow, and like local ones, like trying to harvest seeds or cuttings, I could never manage it. They never took. So I bought these two, in spite of my original fears of, Dutch elm disease just going to kill it anyway or whatever. But these are supposed to be still American elms, but they're hardier. It's not quite as tall and long as the other one, but it does have some branching up here, and it looks to be still alive. So this elm and this elm are going to come out of these kind of smaller baskets and be moved into something bigger, because they're not going to go into bonsai stuff right away. They're going to get a chance to thicken and grow. And then I have my redwood forest. Only 4 trees in it anymore. It used to be, I think, 6 or 7. But it looks alive. It's got buds. They're not green. They're very shiny red at the moment. So, hopefully no problems. I don't think they're really swelling yet. They're just kind of there. This is my Kojo no Mai cherry. It's about this tall. Oh, it's so hard to get things in frame. So not too big. And another tree that I'm probably going to have to let thicken up. It's plenty. I think it's got plenty of room in this basket for the time being. But you can see that it's getting ready to do something. And I have a feeling it's flowers. I think this flowers before it, I think it flowers before it leaves out. There's buds up the rest of this trunk, but they're not as advanced as these ones on this lower branch down here. And then this right next to it is the little little elm grove that I put together. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if I can turn it a little bit. And this is more like the potential front of it, so that there's kind of an entryway in here, and then just a kind of a circle of trees. Oop, don't you fall off there. Not really seeing any activity on this at all. Here's another root cutting that I did that's kind of up out of the surface a bit. So we'll see if that took this year. This is a linden that I was given. I have no idea about lindens. Let's see if I can move it to where it can be seen a little better. Not seeing any swelling of buds or anything on this. Let's see. Here's another, I don't know. It's either an elm or a redwood, because those are the only things that I have small babies like this growing. And this is a pomegranate, or I mean a pawpaw. I don't know if that's coming back. I don't know if this part is alive. There's a big root under here, though, so there could be something happening with it. My pawpaw outside has not started doing anything yet either. This is another... Shoot, I can't remember if this is an oak. I mean, not an oak. I think this is a dawn redwood. That goes with there someday. This is my blueberry tree. It's looking good. Let's see. There's a little, probably a leaf budding out right there. An old leaf and another leaf buds. You can see lots of leaf buds on this blueberry clump style that I'm going for. As you can see down here, quite a bit of clump. I got a couple of sacrificial branches down here just to help thicken the base and give a nicer root base to this. But I really like how this is coming. The blueberry, I'm really liking the... I feel like it's you can get a good success out of it pretty fast and feel good about it. This in the middle is one side of the hazel. This is a clump of hazelnut. It's like 4 seeds all fell together and basically fused down there, I think is what happened. 4 or 5. Not sure if I'm going to be able to separate them. Not sure if I want to separate them. And not sure if I might have to just cut some away. Because those 2 in the center are almost a matched pair size-wise. And they fork the same way and everything. So not really sure where that's going to go. And over here, making nice buds, is black currant. You can see all up the good size of the buds on this. It's ready to go. I'm not sure how many of them are in the bottom of this pot, if they're separate, three separate ones, or if they're connected, but they look like they could be separated. So this is something I have to play with at some point. And then right here is staghorn sumac. Again, this one's probably going in a bigger pot so it can stretch out and get a nice thick base to it. Because this is already going to have a thick, chunky trunk, so I need a base that puts it in proportion, like a wider nabari. Can't tell if this thing is getting ready to start. These nodules are where the old leaf snapped off of, so that's where I would expect new buds to come from. So I'll just have to see. You see that there's some kind of a crack here. Hopefully there's no bug in there. I have to investigate that. And if I come around... to this side, you can see the other side of this staghorn sumac. You see the furry trunks and branches of it. And then right in front of this, I have 2 birch trees. I think they're birch. See this one here. This one that I thought was dead, it now has like a short trunk here and a couple of branches up. I think I could do something with that. This one's pretty standard, fairly straight up. It's got that little bit of a reddish tinge to the bark compared to some of these other trees I have. And this is the other side of the hazelnut. Really excited about this hazelnut clump. And here is the second one of my staghorn sumac. It also may be going into, rather than this tie pot, like something that is bigger. This one does have a nicer, thicker trunk at the base. There's a little bit of flare there. There's also a curled root that I have to look at right here. And it comes up. To the right is a slightly smaller diameter branch. That center piece will be cut out. This piece right here, probably going to get cut out. And this is fairly thick. It's hard to tell if these buds are actually doing anything yet. I'm not sure if they really are doing anything. Might be too early still. And then this is the brackets. Those are the dead leaves from last year. They still held on. Funny. So that's pretty much... Oh. Also, in this basket here, I had a bunch of oak acorns. And the mice were trying to get into digging them, and I don't know how many of them they got, but I found this chunk of tile, like on a mesh, and so I laid that over it for the winter. And in the next couple days, hopefully we'll be able to take this off and devise some other form of a mesh thing to go on top of this. So these things can breathe, and also, so if they start to shoot up or even have germinated and are going to grow, that they can get out of there without losing them to the mice. So this is the other part of my bonsai corner where it goes in the wintertime. Takes up the center of the garage. Now that I know approximately how much space I need, we're going to get this all better organized and we had to bring a bunch of stuff out of our attic. I don't want things stored up there anymore. I'm too old to be climbing up there, so we're condensing. But I was glad I was able to get the trees all up. They're all also on top of crates that are on top of trays, so they don't sit in water when they're in here. They can get watered well, and the water will collect in those trays. It might keep the moisture up in here a bit, but I run an air purifier over here. I have a filtration system here to make sure no mold or anything gets going. Other than that, that's my grove hanging out till the weather gets a little better. So I hope you enjoyed this little tour, and I hope you'll come back to my channel, Bonsai Druid, again in the future, and keep an eye out for future posts. Okay, one last quick tip that I wanted to give you guys. I was at Costco, and they had another set of baskets, not the same ones I got last time, where it was like 3 or 4 different sizes. These are 4 of the same size, but they're pretty big. I'll be testing them out to see if they're as sturdy as, say, a pond basket, which are actually made to be outside in the water, durable, last a long time. Let me show you here. Okay, so this is the tag that's on them. Set of 4 storage baskets. 14.3 inches by 11.6 inches by 8.6 inches, or 36.3 centimeters by 29.4 centimeters by 21.8 centimeters. Set is made by high quality polypropylene, probably for indoor use normally, but there's 4 of them. I believe it was $13 and something cents. There's not a lot of extra packaging. Just that one band came right off easily. Let me show you. Hold on. Okay, so here's the size of the basket. Here's a plant pot compared to the size. This is a ruler. Top of the basket is just under 9 inches. Width at the bottom, 9 3/4, 9 5/8 maybe. Looks like a little bit wider at the top. Would be pretty easy to put holes through the bottom. The holes through the sides are kind of small, but there's lots of them. And height-wise, like, it's pretty deep. So there's 4 in this set. I'll probably run back and get another set for the price. Because 2 of these are going to be used to change my sumacs into, and the other 2 are going to be used to change my elms into. And then once they've filled or outgrown these pots, I'll decide whether or not depending on how well they've developed, whether I want to move them into even bigger containers. But I think these will do for the moment, and especially for the price. So I'm looking forward to repotting them in the future, but these baskets, like I said, were under $14. There's 4 in a set. It was Costco. And they didn't have a whole lot left at the one that Costco by me, but that could vary. I don't know how long they had been there. But I'm probably going to go back in another day or 2 and pick up another set. Just to update you, in case you have a Costco near you and you're looking for some cheap baskets, not too expensive, but look like they're pretty big and pretty sturdy. Thanks for joining me at Bonsai Druid. See you again soon.